Okay, so welcome back. I think I have 25 maybe minutes, 20, 25 minutes. So I'll keep it short. Mark Skelson covered most of the topics. So I would like to quickly go over the history of economic thought. Okay, we talked about the classical school, right? We talked briefly about the Marxian school. I would like to spend some time talking about marginalism, the neoclassical school, synthesis, and the Austrian school. So the classical school, right? So we started with the classical school. So these are the various schools of economic thought. The classical economists recognize the benefits of private property, right? Private property ownership. You take care of your private property more than you take care of a piece of property that's communally owned. They also recognize the benefits of the price system. Prices should be determined in the marketplace, right? Who determines the wages that I get paid? If it's up to me, I want $1 million per lecture. If it's up to you, you want to pay me a penny. Okay, so it's not you, it's not me, it's our interaction in the marketplace, right? So when I negotiate, I mean, you're the ultimate buyer. When you go to a university, a college, you are the ultimate decision maker, how much you want to pay your faculty. The school, university is just an intermediary. It's just a platform. They give us a space so we can come together. So the ultimate, consumers are the students, and I'm supplying lectures in economics. So we're negotiating with one another, but the university is playing the role of the intermediary, right? They're offering us price. They're telling you, can you pay this much tuition? If he says, no, it's too expensive, I don't want to go, then they come to me and they say, we can't pay you that much, the students, right? So the negotiations are happening through an intermediary, but the relationship is between the faculty and the students. So my wages are not determined by me, not by the student, by our interactions in the marketplace, okay? These prices are sacred in the sense that it reflects the value that I'm creating in the marketplace. I would be the happiest person. One day you tell me, this college tells me, we want to pay you $0. That means society is telling me what? You're not creating value. Thank you very much. I'm trying to find out my comparative advantage. I don't get upset about it. But thank you. Society told me that what I'm producing has no value. I move on to create another value, right? So wages actually determine the value that you're creating. That's why I love money. When I get paid, right, from Long Beach City College, I go to the bank, take the dollar bills, throw it up in my bag, jump on it, and I pick up a dollar bill. I see his face. I see David. He's saying thank you very much. Because every dollar represents what? A thank you note. That's what I see it. He's saying thank you. I'm not forcing him to pay me. Voluntarily is paying. So these are thank you notes. So the more money you make, right, that means the more prosperity you're creating, the more value you're creating in the marketplace. We should celebrate Entrepreneurship Day, Billionaires Day, not Labor Day, because it's the entrepreneurs and the billionaires that are creating the most value. Okay, so it's a value creation. So we looked upon the classical school of economics, right? So they understood the price mechanism that binds buyers and sellers, not only in the goods market, but also in the labor market. That's how wages are determined. How about the price of capital, the interest rate? It should be market determined. And it reflects what? Buyers and sellers. Sellers are the ones who are saving money. You put money in the bank. And the buyers are the ones who are borrowing money from the bank. So the interest rate adjusts, right? If there is too much savings, then what happens to the interest rate? It goes down. There's too much money in the bank. So bankers will lower the price of money, the interest rate, so they can loan out more and more. They have too much in their stock. Again, the bank is an intermediary. It's not a bank, the institution. It's an institution that facilitates the trade. So in a market economy, the actual exchange is happening between market participants, not these institutions. Government institutions are the institutions that dictate market activity. But market institutions, they represent, they project market activity. They're not playing a role in the decision making. They're just facilitating exchange. Same thing with the price of land and etc. and on. So that's the benefits of the classical school. They said markets can regulate themselves. They said wages will adjust in such a way. There's no shortage. There's no surplus. If economics PhDs make more money, then you will be incentivized to major in economics rather than mathematics. So the market outside planet Earth is telling us, we want more economists. So my wages go up. They don't have to call you, David, say, oh, like David, you know, you're about to enter university, don't major in mathematics, major in economics. They don't have to call you. My wages go up, you can look it up, economics wages are going up above mathematics. So that means planet Earth desires more economics, so you major in economics, because the wages are going up, perhaps, if you love them equally, right? All else equal, let's say. So the markets play a role that, you know, adjusts the bias, that equilibrium, brings in harmony. It intertwines the buyers and sellers together in the marketplace. I can't emphasize the role of the price mechanism, we call it, right? The price mechanism that binds, it's a language. You know, people say mathematics is a universal language. Maybe, you know, you can communicate via language, sign language, there are means, but economics in the social sciences is the primary language of communication. It's even more important than actual language. Because I'm not communicating with the producers of these clickers. The moment I go, I don't even know where it's produced. I just have to go to the market and buy more of it. And this particular brand, the other ones are not working. Okay? So that means I'm signaling to them, produce more of it. It's a communication, okay? And when this communication is distorted via government intervention, price controls, minimum wages, rent control, price floors, price ceilings, communications are distorted. It's like the Babel of the Tower of Babylon, right? We don't speak the same language. The markets then are distorted, okay? Goods and services are being produced, no one wants to purchase it. In other markets, there is a shortage. It's chaos, okay? That's the price mechanism, the benefits that in the absence of interventionism, there's been no shortage, no surplus. That's the classical school. Specialization and trade, we're going to talk about this next pillar, right? The benefits of the division of labor. Okay, most economists, they look at the division of labor, oh, it's all about efficiency. You specialize in tomatoes, you specialize in potatoes, you exchange, there's more potato and there's no, and the story ends there. But as Austrian economists, free market economists, Mengerian economists, I don't only look at efficiency, I look at I have an interdisciplinary view of the division of labor. It binds society together, it creates harmony. Yes, efficiency, we have more apples and more oranges, but we are friends because we're becoming interdependent, right? You produce apples, I produce tomatoes, your well-being, I have a skin in the game, I want you to do well. You get sick, I'm going to come help you. Not because I care about you, because you produce potatoes and I want your potatoes. Okay? So there is an interconnectedness, interdependency from that emerges from the division of labor. So it's above and beyond than just an efficiency argument. It's more of an argument that creates harmony. It creates peace. It creates a mutually beneficial economic order. Okay? That's the benefit of the division above and beyond efficiency. Private property, again, I can emphasize the fundamental role of private property. Elephants in Namibia are collectively owned. The poachers come, they kill the elephants, they take the tusk, right? There is some soldiers, some security, but they don't have a skin in the game. It's not their elephants, it's a big game, big land. They don't want to risk their lives, right, going against the poachers. Number of elephants are declining. But you know what's happening in the number of elephants in South Africa? Their numbers are going up because the games are privately owned. When something is privately owned, then I'm going to put security. I want to make sure the security is going to stand up against the poachers. Otherwise, I'll fire them. They lose their jobs. But in Namibia, the bureaucrats, the soldiers, the policemen, they don't have a skin in the game. They don't lose their job. They say, oh, the poachers came and left. They bring more security. The poachers still dominate, right? Because they don't have an incentive. So when something is privately owned, then you care for it. And it is very important characteristic of the classical school of economic thought. We also talked about the alternative, the Marxians. These are the pessimistic people, okay? Not the Austrians. The Marxians say, oh, they don't trust human nature. They don't trust human beings. It's anti-human, anti-nature approach. They said, oh, you guys can't organize your activities. We need a king, we need a tsar. We need an emperor to come in and dictate what should be produced and how much it should be produced. Okay? As if you can charge me $1 million for a lecture and I don't have an alternative, right? In a free market, there's always alternatives. Karl Marx, right, considered a prominent figure in this school of economic thought. I don't want to even call it the school of economic thought, it's just a joke. He talked about the value. He said, you're exploiting the workers, right? Something is produced, if this is produced, and it took 5 labor hours and labor is getting paid $10, so that's like $50. But if the market sells for 150 and they only get 50, they say, oh, you're exploiting the workers, right? Or where is the money? But so they believe in the subjective, objective theory of value, or the labor theory of value, and that's what it is called. So I would like to spend a minute talking about this. The labor theory of value says the value of a good or a service reflects the cost of production. Okay? That means the value of this computer reflects how much it costs to produce. Okay? The value. How about if you go dig a hole in the desert and you spend 10 labor hours? So what's the value of that hole in the desert that nobody wants? Its value is 0. You dug a hole in the desert, nobody values, so its value is 0. So therefore, the value of a good or a service does not reflect the amount of sweat that you have in it. I don't care how much you sweat. The value is subjective to the consumer. Picasso painting is worth $100 million. What does that reflect? The actual cost of the brush and the paint and the half an hour work, maybe it took him half an hour. It's worth $170 million, the highest sold price for a Picasso painting. It reflects subjective human consumer preferences, okay? So when the entrepreneur who's making $100 million and the worker is making $100, doesn't mean there's exploitation, okay? The value is in the creativity of the product, right? And the value that you are anticipating. It's all about expected prices, expected value in the marketplace. So I'll come back and talk about this. So labor theory of value was adopted by the classical school of economic thought. And they say that the capitalist pigs are doing what they're exploiting the workers. A car is being sold for $50,000. The workers are getting paid $5,000 labor. They're saying, where is the rest $45,000? In their mind, there is no role for entrepreneurship. There is no role for a capitalist that's taking the risk. For every restaurant that you observe outside, you know how many restaurants had to close down?
80.
Higher. First 3 years, 90%. After 5 years, 95%. Every single restaurant that you observe, there is one successful restaurant,
95.
5 successful restaurants, that means 95 of these restaurants actually shut down. It's called silent evidence. You wouldn't see a sign, it says, oh, there was a restaurant here in 2014, but we went bankrupt. You don't see it. When you're walking down Brand Boulevard, what do you see? The ones that are open succeeded, but that's one, right? Out of 30, 40 that actually shut down, okay? Or they're new, they're in the process of shutting down, they're surviving few 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, they shut. So, the capitalist must be compensated, right? You not see, you start a business, you failed, you start a business. You know which business I'm talking about, right? Maybe you failed, I don't know. Let's assume you failed for a moment, okay? Now, so that's a fail. Next time, so eventually when you succeed, you have to be compensated for all of them, okay? The theory of, so communal ownership, that's a Marxian, right? They said, oh, capitalists are exploiting the workers. We want, you don't own the land should be communally owned. God created the land, He didn't create the land. I don't want to get into the land because we have a pillar dedicated for talking about Djerdjian, who created the land, what's the value of the land, etc. But only their approach is that you didn't create the land, we own it collectively. So they want collective ownership of the land. They didn't believe in the price mechanism. They said the central planners will set the price. Right? So it's a pessimistic view. It's a view that they don't believe in. They don't understand human nature. And that's why they fail miserably. Okay. These are the problems. When the bureaucrat is setting the price of apples, the bureaucrat doesn't know what our preference is. So they're setting actually they even set the quantity of apples that should be produced. They say this piece of land should be apples, over there oranges. So sometimes we may observe underproduction and sometimes we may observe overproduction. I visited Soviet Armenia. There's a shortage of milk, there's a surplus of ice cream. How is that possible? There's a shortage of bicycles, surplus of skateboards. Every shop, he can validate that. He's lived there for a few years, right? Soviet times. The bureaucrat can't get it right because there is no prices that adjust demand and supply, right? In the absence. Furthermore, there is always production inefficiency also under Marxian. We may over and underutilize a factor of production. Are we using too much capital? Are we using too little capital? Are we using too much land? Too little land, right? So there is over and underutilization, absence of price mechanism, etc. This is an afterthought, a brief view of, I have not much time left, but I'll leave you maybe with this thought. The socialists, interventionists, Luddites, you know what the Luddites are? Luddites. Anyone has heard of the Luddites? These are the people that did what? During the Industrial Revolution, when they had the sewing machines, right? They were workers. And they started rebelling and protesting. They started smashing these machines because it was taking away their jobs, right? They're losing their jobs because now everything is becoming machinated, like machination is taking place. So the Luddites, right? They all argue that as technology is advancing, capitalists will increasingly adopt labor savings. So I'm the boss, I'm the business owner, right? Technology is advancing. I'm gonna fire you and then bring a robot to replace you. I mean, this is current nowadays, right? But the idea existed for hundreds of years, right? So this current topic that's happening, I see people, friends, family members, they always say, oh, what do you think about technology taking over jobs? What are your views of robots taking over jobs, right? Farmers, they're gonna lose the jobs because you don't have robots that are gonna pick the apples and the oranges. What will happen to the farmers? What would happen to factory workers? Assembly lines, production of cars, production of computers, robots are doing it. What will happen to these workers? They're going to lose their jobs, right? So that's what people are worried about, that these jobs, they'll be displaced, okay? That will robots and automation ultimately replace human jobs. And it will lead to unemployment. People don't have jobs. It will lead to unemployment, okay? And hardship for workers. Now, before I move forward, I put a question mark. What are your views? Anyone? What are your views that robots, automation, machines are going to take over the farmers, the factory workers, restaurant servers, and we're not going to have a job. And unemployment is going to go up. And we're going to be miserable, most of us. And the businesses are going to get wealthier and wealthier, the capitalists, right? They call them the capitalist pigs. They're going to get wealthier, and then the workers are going to be jobless. And that's what we're heading, right? I mean, automation is taking place. We're going to, the Uber drivers are going to lose their jobs. Taxi drivers, we're going to have driverless cars, right? So millions of people are going to be out of jobs. So what do you think will happen? Do you agree with this Luddites and the interventionists and the socialists and the myopic people? Do you agree with them? I mean, I already gave them bad names, so I have to say no. So why not?
I have a question.
Yeah.
What happened when they created the cotton gin?
Okay. So those are the Luddites. So yeah, what happened?
Good things.
Good things happened. Good things happened. There was a transition in the short run. Some people will lose their jobs. Some people don't transition. You have to bob and weave. You have to smell the cheese. That changes are coming into the marketplace, and you have to adapt and move and change. It's a dynamic world. It's not a static world. You can't sit on your ass, do the same thing over and over, get a degree, and think that your degree will have value 10, 20, 30 years from now. Continuously, you have to reinvent yourself in the marketplace. It's a dynamic, competitive environment. You should cherish it, welcome it, celebrate it. There's no moving away from it. Okay, it's not we can stop it. No, you can't. I don't want you to stop it. What else? So that's one view. Anyone else? Like robots taking over your jobs.
I know, for example, people also criticize the use of machine learning and artificial intelligence, but I just think that like many years like ago, when people like invent the calculator, I think that there must be a lot of other people or mathematicians that just criticize it because like say that look at this, you are not going to learn math, you will be like more dumb with these things. But at the end of the day, I think that everyone could agree that uh, the calculator haven't made us like more stupid. They actually make us like more like productive and like
Very good.
that's it's like in base it's like the base of the chips that they just made like these calculations faster and faster, and that's why we have like the smartphones and all the devices we have nowadays. So it's not about like okay, like this gonna make us dumb, like more dumb, but this is like gonna be like more like have more benefits for us, like actually.
Okay, very good answer. Anyone else? Any other observations? Oh, yeah.
You need to type it.
Oh, you need this?
Can you, yeah,
Hello?
speakers off.
Oh, what do you want me to do?
She needs to type it.
Okay.
You have to.
Do what? Here you go. I can't even see what I'm doing.
It says
The speaker's not working, so you're gonna have to type it.
So while the student is typing, I mean, think about ChatGPT. Okay, so I'm invited to meetings. I don't go. I'm always invited to academic. I mean, maybe not academic, but like university, college meetings, faculty getting together. I always run away from those meetings because it's a waste of my time. But most of the topics nowadays is ChatGPT. That the students are using ChatGPT. How do we catch them? What are the penalties? So because we have programs, I can put your essay in a ChatGPT. It gives me like 80%, 30%, 20%, right? How much usage ChatGPT has happened. So there's an anti-ChatGPT sentiment out there in academia. But at the same time, with colleges, they're like, we can't do anything about it. You know, there was some lawsuit, some student was kicked out. I think
from Harvard.
Harvard. Yeah, Harvard. He was kicked out of Harvard, and then he actually sued the college.
And won because
It wasn't ChatGPT, even though the machine, right? Even though it was like there was the time.
Even though the dean was a plagiarizer.
Even though the dean of Harvard was so, but my personal experience is I didn't use ChatGPT. I was like anti-ChatGPT. I was raw. And then my students came actually. Ethan, Peter, maybe Matthew was not there, but you know, my students came. I was like, oh, professionally, all use ChatGPT. Like, I don't want to use it. It's like, it doesn't feel right. They're like, oh, use it. I tried it out, you know, and I started adopting it more and more and more. And I can tell you, last year was the most productive year of my life because I didn't have to do redundant, repetitive tasks. I didn't have to do the searches that I have to do. I was the most creative. I created something called praxeonomy that doesn't exist, something that belongs to me, like in terms of, we'll talk about it later on, you know, a market value. So I had new inventions, I was able actually to start this Menger program with the help of ChatGPT because I wasn't doing the jobs, the menial jobs. I don't have the funds to have a secretary or helpers, right? We're limited in resources. So I did all the repetitive dumb stuff. The most important thing about ChatGPT is the questions that you're asking. You're asking the questions, that means you have some knowledge of what to ask, right? So I was very productive. I generated new topics, new lectures. It's my invention, my innovation, but I didn't have to send it to an editor, right? When you want to publish a book, you send it to the editor takes months, sends it back to you, back and forth. You're more concerned about the language, about the grammar, than you're concerned about the content, right? But the content is a human content. Because ChatGPT is backward looking. They're not creating something new. They're looking what's happened in the past. So you want to create something new that's human, you know? And I don't want to deal with what's in the past. In the past is in the past. Everyone has access to it, you know? But one more thing I can tell you about creating jobs. Imagine there is a car assembly line, right? So we're producing cars, right? And then in the production of cars, we're producing cars over here. And this is a car, okay? And imagine Imagine now workers are fired, laid off, and there is automation that's going on, right? So now the business, the firm, is going to produce many cars. But what's happening to the workers? They're losing their job. Automation is taking place, right? They're going to produce all the cars. Now, who's going to buy these cars? There's an inventory of cars. There's a million cars over here. Who's going to buy the cars if all these are losing their job? And this is not only happening in the auto industry, it's happening in the computer industry because there's automation there. It's happening in the cell phone industry. It's happening in the airplane. All the industries, they're becoming automated. All the workers are losing their jobs. Now, and then we're producing all the cars. So who's going to buy the cars? If there is no employment, there's unemployment. That's the argument of the statists, the Luddites. Who will buy the cars? You think the firms are not the smartest people? You think the economy just it kills itself? Obviously, they're going to realize when all these workers lose their job, they're going to produce inventory and there are no buyers for it. So the economy internally has the potential to coordinate the rate of technology that aligns with the rate of skill adoption of these workers. Today's workers are considered high skill. The most unskilled worker today compared to 50, 100 years ago is considered high skill. So the economy operates in such a way, it doesn't kill itself because it's motivated by profits. Pi is a profit. This is the best thing that could happen is profit maximization. These firms want to maximize profit. They want to sell their industry. So they want to do it in such a way, decentralized way, okay, that all the industries, every time a worker becomes is replaced, he's being pulled, right, along the production line. That means this worker suddenly becomes a technician that fixes the robots. This worker enters management of the robots. It becomes on the sales side of the product. So the workers will bob and weave, they learn new skills. Every time we're moving forward with automation, it's pulling the labor force behind it. It has to pull it. Otherwise, no one will buy these cars and the businesses will not profit. This is incremental. It doesn't happen. You have to smell the cheese. It's not overnight. Okay, for a decade, we knew that, in the old days, there were labs. You take pictures and you take the film, you take it to the lab, right? But incrementally, slowly, it became digitized. There were digital cameras, right? So incrementally, it took decades. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens over decades. So you should see that certain things are becoming obsolete, and you bob and weave, right? Like you said about the calculator, and you gave the example of I forgot the sewing machines, the cotton gin, right? Or new machines take it. So it's incremental. It takes time, but it cannot kill itself. It cannot bankrupt itself. The economy. It will pull these workers with it forward. Okay. One more thing, last thing, and then I'll take questions. These workers, even though if they lose their jobs, when automation takes place, when the robots are producing all the goods and services, what do you think happens to the price of goods? It goes down. How much time and effort and money does it take to produce an orthodontist?
Many.
10 years for an orthodontist, right? It takes 10 years. You know what? How much time and effort does it take to produce 100,000 orthodontists with a click of a button instantaneously? Once we have the algorithm, the chip, the robot, now robots are actually doing what? There are robots that are doing
invasive surgery.
not active in surgeries, they're doing surgeries that human beings cannot do. It's minimal invasion, but so detailed tasks that human beings can't do it. In the future, with a click of a button, we're going to generate 10,000 orthodontist dentists. The fixed cost, the actual chip, the cost is the original cost, the fixed cost. But to duplicate is negligible. In a very short period of time, in your lifetime, if it's not my lifetime, in your lifetime, probably human beings will never have to sweat for sustenance. You're never going to have to sweat to get that cup of coffee or to buy that cookie. In your lifetime, it's going to happen. It's going to be prevalent. I don't care about the economic systems and things like that. Now I'm looking at technology. Negligible prices. The price of robots, they work 24 hours, not like your dentist, right? He has to close shop. 3 a.m. in the morning, you have a toothache, you just walk in, get your teeth fixed, and then you get out. Negligible prices. There's going to be a transition phase, but it's so negligible that we will not have to work for sustenance. Eventually, down the line, few hundred years into the future, human beings will be concerned with cosmic affairs, intergalactic transportations, going to the origins. We'll be concerned with other issues than raising apples and oranges for consumption because we're getting hungry or we're thirsty. That would be something of the past. That's where we're heading with this technology. So I welcome it, I cherish it. In the transition phase, smell the cheese, wake up, don't major in things that are becoming redundant, repetitive, right? And prices will go down so much that we all have access to all kinds of information, education, we'll have access to dentists, to food, energy, etc., and etc. So I'm going to stop here and then take a question or two. Okay, so I simply had my own observation to share to what Professor asked. In my case, I'm not anti-machine or robot or AI team. It's not like they are taking over human. At the end of the day, it's human controlling them, inventing them, lots of brain work and expectations, which makes it human-centered work. Agree. I can quote an anime, may sound funny, called Psychopaths, but was about the debate and having the choice. Is there more? I don't know if I was able to express it. That's part of it. Thanks for following up. I mean, thank you for the question. I 100% agree. We control them. We invent them. We're forward-looking. Human beings are forward-looking. They look into the past. They make our lives easier. Nothing to fear. As long as you're open, you adopt it, you accepted it, then you bob and weave, you move with it. If you oppose it, then you'll be on the losing side because this is something that is moving forward, like globalization. At some point in time, in the 70s, was globalization taking over. People were resisting it, they were fighting it. Oh, it's killing our culture, but it's something. It's just human progress. I don't want any restrictions on it. And also one observation, any time that when you see a distortion, right, small, that's why I think we talked about creative, what was it, creative destruction, Mark Skousen, Professor Mark Skousen, and then he said, I prefer creative distortion. Markets don't disruption, yeah, distortions, disruption, same thing, I guess. Markets don't destroy. There's no creative destruction. You're not destroying it. You're modifying it. You're enhancing it. You're embellishing it. You're moving forward with these new inventions and innovations. So, yeah. Anyone else? Any other questions?
What happened to the banana republics? The bananas and the discovery of banana.
What?
Banana discovery.
Yeah. Okay. You mean discovery of?
I remember you were talking about going to America for tobacco and like I want to know when they went to South America for bananas. What happened?
Yeah, so I mean that's what they did. They people actually died in Latin. In Central America, right? There was this priest that was trying to promote Catholicism, right? And actually, he had diseases, and the natives were not able to fight these diseases. So most of the workers died. People died. I mean, the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Incas were in the south. The Mayans were in the west east coast. The Aztecs are in the west coast. So a lot of them died because of diseases that the Europeans brought to them rather than fighting, as much as people died from these diseases. So they brought in the slaves, intercontinent, or they transported them from West Africa, most of them, so they can work these plantations and get the goods and the services. I think it was mostly sugar and tobacco. Not as much as bananas. Maybe bananas came way later on. It wasn't bananas because they're perishable, they don't last. So the Banana Republic was way way later on.
I wanted to see the
Yeah,
connection.
yeah. I mean, obviously, people, they see goods and services in other parts of the world. If there is no capital, then capital flows to these countries that have capital, that lack capital. We call it foreign direct investments. So they go to the countries that lack capital, and then so there's machination and production taking place. So it's good. Capital mobility or foreign direct investment is good for any economy. Yes, one.
Which would you think would be the most like demanded career in like the near future?
Which method of
Demanded career.
demanded career in the future? They are careers that don't exist today. They'll be known to you in the future. Most of the students that graduate, even 10 years ago, 20 years ago, they worked in jobs that didn't exist when they started college. This is how dynamic it has become. Okay? I mean, the whole industries are changing. I mean, nanotechnology was not there, robotics was not there, AI was not there, solar energy. I mean, you name it. All these new industries, new computing powers are coming. There are, I mean, blockchain technology. All these are technologies. They're just like coming in day after day, year after year. There are new technologies. By the time you graduate college, there's going to be industries that don't exist today. I don't know where they are. Okay, but you have to be flexible continuously. You're not going to get much in college. Colleges are behind industries. That's why you need, diploma programs, technical that outside of mainstream universities and colleges. Right, the smaller programs, they are more dynamic, more aligned, more in tune, more in tandem with what's happening in the marketplace. Universities, colleges are too far away. There's discontinuity. There's no relationship. They're lagging behind. That's why nowadays, if you remember the first lecture I had, I said most businesses, I have a list of businesses, actually, some of them on their website. They say, please don't go to college, just come straight out of high school. If you're interested, I'll give you those of you who don't want to go to college, you're in high school. There are many companies, they're saying, I don't want you to go to college. It's obsolete. It's lagging behind. High school, some math, the basics of chemistry and biology and math, some literature. Communication skills are so important. That's what they want. The rest, they'll train you, and then you move on. There's more value outside training programs than like 4-year obsolete academic programs that we have now. It's a waste of time. You're wasting I'm a faculty. I still teach. Don't show this to UCLA. I'll lose my job. Okay, it's obsolete. I've seen it. That's why I never attended graduation. I've never been to any graduation party. What am I going to look at your parents' face? Tell them what? They're going to tell me you took all the money from us. A father, actually, I met a father at the restaurant. He said, you took all my money. What is he going to do? He doesn't have a job. I'm like, what can I do? I wasn't the one. I mean, seriously, it happened in Byblos. He's from, I met the father in Byblos. He's a student. You might know him. I could see his face. I forget name. Deb, you know him. Jujar's friend. Debb, his last name is. I went to this Middle Eastern restaurant. It's called Byblos. And then the father was there. He said, you took all my money, heavy accent. He said, wow, what kind of job do you offer him? I'm like, I'm looking for a job myself. I want to get out of academia. New jobs will be created, invented. I don't know. Keep open your eyes. Join programs like this. Have side conversations, people like Mark Scasser. Maybe if time permits, we'll bring other businessmen, more like aligned, in tune with the market than, theoreticians sitting in their offices.
A comment on that too. I think a lot of people are looking at a degree from Harvard as a liability, because with the mindset they come out of, from Harvard or most colleges, they're like less productive. They're harming the business. They're saying this is like unfair. I need more time off, high wages. So it's hurting businessmen.
Yes.
You think it's just going to get worse?
Which part? I mean, no. I mean, it will get worse. I think we're reaching rock bottom. it will get worse, and then eventually all these universities are becoming obsolete. Parents, they have no alternatives. But universities are opening up, new universities. There's like more technical schools are opening up. I think in the future they have to adjust. Many departments will shut down, like all these departments that end with studies. I don't want to call them, name them. Okay, anything you see with studies, stay away from it. Pick a major that creates value in the marketplace. Okay. It's your time to create value, right? I mean, that's the purpose of going to school, is to learn the tools so you can create value. Yeah, they either have to adjust. A lot of students are entering the labor force directly. Employers are hiring directly from high school. You just need the basics. Okay, unless you're going to medical, something specific, unique, it's a targeted. If you want to be an accountant, okay, but you can do it outside of, okay, you don't need 4 years of education to become an accountant. There's plenty of online programs. Within 6 months, they teach you all the accounting, and you'll be a better accountant than a 4-year student who graduated from an accounting department. Okay, you can do it outside. I'm in favor of education. I'm against schooling. There's a difference. Sometimes people say, oh, no, I'm not. Education, but most education could happen outside of the classroom. You benefit nothing in the classrooms, unless you get lucky, you land in one of my classes, you get to meet me, then that's very rare. Okay, anyone else? Or
I have a question on methodology.
that's next pillar.
Oh.
We have a whole 10 hours. Yeah, please ask. But
So I already know what happened, but can we use the deductive methodology that the surplus deficit effects of Marxism central planning lead to corruption and fraud and black markets?
Okay, let me repeat the question. So the question is, can we use the deductive methodology to investigate the exploitation of the capitalist pigs, of the surplus that's going
in Marxism, like
in Marxism.
Soviet Union, when you said there's not enough oranges, there's not enough, or more apples.
Surplus shortage, yeah.
So there's a black market, so there's corruption.
Yes.
There's
here
with socialized medicine. Now people are getting.
Oh yeah. Of course, deductive.
We never knew that.
Of course, you can deduce it without observed. Go ahead. If you want to answer, yeah.
Corruption doesn't necessarily exist. Like black markets wouldn't exist in the free market economy. Like it would all be part of the
It's all open market.
Yeah.
What was I was gonna say, like, are you saying you look for a job that creates value? What about jobs that are like zero-sum game? Like, are those gonna die off or they stay around?
If it's a zero sum, if you're not no, zero sum game is good because your profits are included in the zero sum. So if your business is making, let's say, if we're talking about economic profits, if your business is making zero profits, your wages, your salary is included in the cost structure. So total revenue minus total cost is equal to zero, but in the cost you have your wages. And if you're doing something very unique, no one else knows, it could be $1 million a year wage. So the zero sum game is okay. It's economic profits wise, it's okay. Yeah, I don't know if that's that's what you had in mind. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna stop. Thank you all for showing up, coming in. I love the questions. We're going to shortly update all the lectures yesterday and today. My PowerPoints are on Canvas. We're going to upload shortly. So we're going to send out, within a week, we're going to send out an evaluation to evaluate our performance and your performance. It would be some multiple choice questions that you would have to answer. Please complete it. It should take you no more than 10-20 minutes, right? And then we'll send out the reader for you. We're going to keep it short. We know that you are busy, you're students, you have jobs, etc. So please do read the reader before joining us for pillar number 2 next month, so we can have a fruitful discussion. Okay. Thank you and have a good rest of the day. Good night, everyone joining us. Bye-bye.